TJ, we're starting, boy. How's that looking? Check that sound, Storm. Check that sound. TJ's talking. Talk. You just talk. How's that looking? Just wait. Hold. Next time, what we'll do next time, Storm, we'll mark it so we know what speaker goes with what phone. How's that sound? Sound good? Righto, we're good to go. Rocking and rolling. Good afternoon. Hey, it's Rick Smith from Havenwood Tiny Homes. Thanks for all those that are joining us this afternoon. Hey, how windy is it? I've changed the scenery today. I've actually come inside because it's blowing a gale outside. Blow the numbers off a dollar bill. It's absolutely flying out there. Got gum leaves going everywhere. Quite funny. I spent all yesterday, just had 5 minutes up my sleeve, so I thought I'll give the pool a bit of a clean up all the gum leaves and stuff, and get all the kids' pool toys out of the pool. Get it all nice and cleaned up. And then I was sort of fighting a losing battle when the wind got up last night, and there's full of gum leaves again, just like that. Oh my gosh! But anyway, you do what you got to do. Hey, listen, thanks for joining us. Now, listen, if you've got any questions, make sure you bung them up on the screen. I've got my glasses on. I'm sort of checking Facebook, Instagram out. So if you've got any questions, make sure you put them up on the screen. I've got a heap of questions here as well, and we'll be cracking into those very shortly, and so we can cover a bit of ground. So, looking forward to it. Actually, a little bit of good news for Havenwood. Next year, we're actually starting a new assembly line in our factory, which ultimately is going to double our turnover. The big thing that I've looked at is during construction and for our clients is that I didn't want people, I always had in my head that I didn't want people to wait any more than 6 to 7 months for a tiny home, because it's a bit, I think in this day and age, a lot of people got that McDonald's mentality. They want it now. So, which is cool. I'm good with that. So, but we've got to sort of turn up the revs a bit, and the only way we can do that in its current form is set up another assembly line with a full scaffold and the whole shoot and shebang. And hence that means more staff, more crew, and which we've already started adding to, gearing up for the new year, and meeting the demand at the moment. So flat out like a lizard drinking. So it's really good. I'm really loving it. And as we start to iron out all our bugs within our company, in other words, processes, just systems, all that sort of stuff. There's so much involved, especially once you start to gear up. And I guess when I was doing the high-rise construction, I was sort of in amongst that. But it's funny how quickly you sort of I thought getting out of the high rise, I was sort of winding down a few revs, starting to sort of tune out a bit, and just sort of plug along nice and steady. But then all of a sudden the demand's there. There's so much. The tiny home industry is really starting to take off, so it's really keeping us busy. So yeah, in short, we want to meet the demand. We don't want people to wait any more than 6 months for a tiny home, which means we've got to up the ante within the factory. So that's going to be exciting for our new year. So hence our delivery times, the ones we've actually set with existing customers, that they'll be brought forward for delivery dates, and ready to absorb more for the new year and cracking into 2023. Okay, now as you know, we get a lot of questions during the week, and what we like to do is answer those questions in our Sunday afternoon lives. So if you have any questions, make sure you bung them up. I've got a heap here, so I'll start cracking into it. But in the meantime, if you've got any questions, bung them up on the screen for me. Number one, do you need a special license to tow one of your tiny homes? Now, as you know, our tiny homes are an oversized load. In short, you don't need a special license to tow our tiny homes. You don't need a... hello from Forbes, Georgia. G'day, Georgia. How you going? Actually, how's the rain out there? The floods and stuff, man. That's crazy. It's funny, like here we haven't had rain for a little bit now, but out at the floods and stuff, Forbes everywhere, all out there, man, it's just going crazy. So yeah, really feeling for you out there. We've been through some floods here, But yeah, I've got an idea what it's like, so just hang in there. But I guess that's the beauty of tiny homes and the technology these days, is that you know the floods are coming, you know the rains are coming and all that sort of stuff. So if you've got a tiny home on a property, on a farm, or somewhere like that, Gippsland, g'day Gav from Gippsland. If you've got a, it's like with fires in this day and age. With all the technology and the Google, you can actually follow the fires. There's infrared apps you can follow the fires. So if you know the fires are coming to your property, you can actually hook up your tiny home and tow it out a dangerous way. And it makes it even better for the SES and that. They're not looking for people in homes because you've actually moved your tiny home out of there, the family's out of there, and just let the fires go through and then all the floods go through, and then just bring your tiny home back into position after the floods are going through. I reckon the government really needs to pick up on this game because it's really untapped right now. And I think as time goes on, the demand's there, and all it's going to take is a couple of pollies that actually see the benefits of a tiny home. I think there's a lot of mentality that people that want tiny homes, it's just trailer trash. Well, I thought, you know what? I haven't met anyone that's trash. All the clients and people we've met are gold, and it's just because of a situation that they're in right now that they can't afford $1 million, or they just don't want to. They just don't want to spend $1 million on a home. So they just want a tiny home. They want to live simply. They want to get away from the bureaucracy and the government control and just get away from it all. So I reckon, I was only chatting to one of our clients the other day there about our customers, and we are so like-minded. When people come in, we start talking government and where they're at and all that sort of stuff, and there's so much in common. Like, people have just had enough. They've had a gut full of all the bureaucracy and the crap. I just want to get away from it all, So tiny homes, I reckon, is a way to go. So did I answer that number one? Sorry about that. I waffled and carried on there for a bit. Number one, in short, you don't need a special license apart from a semi-rigid license to tow a truck with 4.5 tonne. So to do that, you need a light rigid license. So our tiny homes, there's no special license required because they're just an oversized load on a registered trailer. So, number two, can you build a 10.3 metre tiny home? I've had this question question a few times for people wanting 10, 11 metre homes. It's like, yeah, no worries, we can do it. There's a couple of things you need to think about. Oh, we're back online. The longer. One of the big key things that we do with tiny homes is we try to build them to maximise ceiling heights up in the lofts and whatnot. So hence you build the main body of the home as low as you can to the ground. Now, whether you recess the wheels or whatever, but ultimately you build it as low as you can. Now, the longer the home, and if you're only got a low profile home that's only just off the ground, what that means is that if you're going through in the delivery lots of valleys and creeks and stuff like that, your home's actually going to bottom out. It's going to be very hard to actually manoeuvre your tiny home into position. So that's the trouble with the long homes. But in saying that, a 10.3 metre tiny home at 2.4 wide is actually only about just over 24 square metres. Now, to achieve the same amount of floor space in that 10.3 metre home in our 3 metre homes, you actually only need an 8.2 metre home. Now, because they're wider, that means basically they're fatter, it just means in the layout and the design, you can actually design it a lot more comfortably, so you don't need this long, massive, skinny home, which is going to be hard for you to manoeuvre. And especially if it's built from timber or steel, once you get the long home, the actual frames themselves, whether it's steel or aluminium frame for your tiny home, the frame itself over that distance is only like a 4x2, whether it be Duragal or steel or aluminium. The strength over that distance, you're not relying upon the trailer. Okay, we can't rely upon the trailer because the sections of the timber or the steel required will be too heavy to span that distance, okay? So what that means is then you're relying upon the wall frames. So whether it be timber frame, steel frame, home, then you're relying upon the cladding that goes onto your frames to actually be your bracing to stop the home from flexing. Okay, one of the things, without being critical, I look at a lot of homes and the way they're built, timber or steel, and I actually see the homes, they've actually got a bend in them like this because of the weight. The actual homes do drop because of the flex of the of the length, because remember your wheels are in the middle. They're not on the outside at each end, they're in the middle. Now when they're in the middle, that means you've got a pivot point in the middle of your home, which means it's going to want to try to bend like this, okay? So when you build a home, you brace it in the first place. You might build it nice and straight, but because of the way that's built, once the weight and the load goes on the tiny home, on the wheels, it's going to flex. That means it's got to get under tension. Now to get under tension, it means it's got to bend. So in theory, the homes, if you're building a home like that, should actually be compensated by building it the opposite way. So then when it does tension, it actually goes straight. You'll actually see this in big inarticulated vehicles in the trailers. They actually build the trailers with a camber upwards. So when the weight or the load gets on the trailer, it actually straightens out, okay? So I think if you're building homes, long homes from timber or steel, to compensate for that flex or that to get the materials under tension, you've got to overcompensate and build it sort of in reverse, and then as it takes the weight, it actually goes straight. So, but as you know, you're aware, our home, we build our homes from refrigeration panel. Each panel is like a giant truss, 7.2, 8.2, 9.2 long, whatever length our homes are. Each panel, so we've got 9 panels right the way across our home, up the walls, across the roof. Every one of those is actually a truss. So there is absolutely, it's impossible for our homes to actually flex under the tension because each panel is an actual truss in itself, you know. Number 3, I see a lot of tiny homes without handrails. Do your homes come standard with handrails? Yes. Well, initially, years ago, the first 1 or 2 homes I built, I just put a handrail on the wall. But then I had 1 or 2 people sort of say to me, "Oh, yeah, why don't you put the handrail? It's a bit unsafe, you know." So we instigate straight away. We actually introduced the handrail on the inside of the staircase, okay, so that it becomes a safety point. So straight away you walk up. Now whether it be just standard is just a top rail and 2 posts. And of course you can upgrade then if you've got kids or dogs to wire ropes, or then you can go fancy with our custom detailed timber work. But in either case, the handrails on the inside of our homes, so it does it is a safety factor on our homes, because you know, at the end of the day, we don't want people getting hurt, and I don't know that there's been any incidences across the industry where someone's been sued because someone's fallen off a tiny home staircase, but I just don't want to have that out there for us anyway. So hence we build our handrails on the inside. So and even our handrails upstairs on the lofts, they're all to meet code. The code says 4 metres or less, you only need to be 900 millimetres high. So upstairs in our bedroom, the actual cabinetry is 900 millimetres high. So that actually acts as a handrail, and it meets the standard, you know. So hence our homes do come standard with handrails on the inside of our staircases. Number 4, my final destination for my tiny home is across a creek and a paddock. Will it be okay taking your homes across to get to their finished position? Well, as I was just touched upon this earlier, because our homes are built from a refrigeration panel, what that does is it means our homes are a solid box, okay? Unlike a vehicle or a home built from timber, there is going to be a tendency to want to twist, okay? But with homes that are built from refrigeration panel, they're a locked in box. It's like it doesn't move, it doesn't rotate, it doesn't twist, it doesn't flex. It's just a rigid, solid box. It's like a giant esky on wheels. Okay, so the answer to that question is yep, no problem, we'll drag it across the paddock. We've actually had 7 deliveries so far this year with tractors, and cross paddocks and creeks and whatnot, and got out the back end and no problem at all. One area of concern that you can have with our homes, as you're aware, because the trailers are 2.4, our homes are 3 metres, which means the internal of the home, the wheels are in a bit, and you've got to be very careful that you don't point load a tiny home, whether it be ours or somebody else's. That is, when you're going up and down creeks, and you can, especially if you're getting it, towing it in with a tractor, the tractor doesn't budge. Okay, it'll just, as you go up the other side, if you're going through a sharp creek, the tractor, the towing hitch will just drop right down, and that means the tiny home hitch has got to pull right down like that. That means you're going to point load the front axle. So you've got to be really careful, because point loading an axle like that, when homes are designed to take all 3 wheels and all 3 axles with an even amount of weight all the way through to actually formulate the structure of the home, if you're going to point load one axle, you could create damage, or point load up through the centre of the home. So not on the outside, but through the centre of the home, which could create damage on the inside. So you just got to be careful on your access and into your sites, okay? Number 6, how much land do I need to install your tiny home with a deck and awning? Okay, well, as you're aware, our larger homes, they're 3 metres wide. They could be 7.2, 8.2 or 9.2 metres long. The home itself is 3 metres, and then you've got our deck and awning, which is another 1.8 metres wide. So 4.8 metres long, but that travels obviously along the length of the home, and 1.8. So for our homes, you need a pad, say 8 metres by 5 metres is a great pad to be able to install our tiny homes. And ideally, if you can install, if you can prep all of our pads, we always let our clients know to try to create that pad level, whether it be on a sloping hill or flat, somewhere flat. But if you don't really know until you start to install a tiny home. If it's 8.2 metres long, and if that ground's out of level by say 400 or 500 millimetres, that means one corner of the home is going to be as low as you can get it. But that means the rest of the tiny home, when you're travelling like that, it could be up out of the ground by 1 metre, and that means you've got to pack it up higher and with supports and whatnot. And it's just, I'm not comfortable doing it. And that's why I always let our clients know, if you can create a level pad, is awesome to install our tiny homes. Max Watson, we hear there's a lot of water out there. We are thinking of you and pray for your safety. That's obviously Max is talking about out at Forbes. Just heaps of rain. I think flood levels, records, all that sort of stuff. It's like, wow. It's funny, like, we've got the sun shining here. It's a beautiful day. Well, I mean, mind you, we haven't seen the sun here for 5 days in a row for about 12 months. So it is good to see the sunshine, and I love it. I'm a bit of a sun bunny. I love me sun, love me sunlight. I'm definitely not a snow bunny. So loving the sun. Number 7, I'm getting into tiny homes. How do you think interest rate rises will affect the tiny home industry? Well, you know what? I reckon it's only going to prosper the tiny home industry. I think people are going to start to realise as interest rates go up that all of a sudden those homes, it's not worth it. It's scary out there. Like, interest rates are going to go up, prices are going up, and to actually get yourself into the worldly grind of just working to live, paying off a debt, is pretty scary stuff. And I think personally the tiny home industry is actually going to benefit as time goes on. I think it's going to put a huge demand on the industry. So I reckon if you're looking at as another opportunity or a job venture or a future, I believe personally tiny homes are the way to go, purely because it's affordable housing. I mean, we got into the tiny homes in the first place was to create affordable housing. And what we're finding now with the clientele that are coming through, I mean, we've got investors too, but a lot of our clients are people that, like I mentioned earlier, either can't afford $1 million or don't want to spend $1 million on a home. So clients selling their $1 million properties, paying off their mortgage and pumping it 150 grand into a tiny home, you know, and it's just like living like kings. I mean, hey, it doesn't get any better than that. So I think that's the way to go. So I think the demand on tiny homes is going to be huge as times get tougher. So, yeah, hang in there and just jump on it, I reckon. Number 8, do you install skylights in your tiny homes? I've had this question quite a lot. Okay, the skylights we install in our tiny homes are only 500 by 600. Okay, we won't put bigger skylights in than that, purely because it's up the top of your home, and you're going to get smashed with the sun as it comes into the actual tiny home itself. I mean, it might be, you know, it's all glamorous at night time, laying in bed and looking out and looking at the stars. There's a couple of things. I will never put a skylight in a flat roof, because you will get 100% sunshine smashing into your tiny home. The heat's going to kill you. Like, honestly, it's the benefits, the drama just doesn't outweigh the benefits, you know. So did I get that right? So I reckon personally, skylights up in the roofs on a flat section of roof. Firstly, I won't do it for waterproofing reasons, but secondly, for thermal comfort, I just won't do it. Okay. The skylights we do install, like I said, 500 by 600. We only put them in the sloping part of the roof, so that you're not copping that full brunt of sunshine, but at the same time, it's allowing light in. They are operable, so they open, so you can actually helps you create cross ventilation in your home, get rid of the heat up the top part of your home as well. So they do have a benefit, but it's all about proportion. And if you blow that by putting bigger windows and two bigger skylights in, you're going to get hammered, and your air conditioners, it's going to make it uncomfortable living in your tiny home. So that's my thoughts on the skylights. Talking about power savings. When we built our home there, I don't know, a year and a half ago now, and when I was building it, I was very mindful of saving a bit of energy, electricity. You know, I just didn't want to have too many lights and this and that. Anyway, long story short, we ended up buying some in the home. We put a couple of spots. We put these like chandeliers, like sort of more modern chandeliers, not old school, just sort of more modern chandeliers, and they've got about six lights in them. You know. Anyway, of course, with the kids, I mean, Shani and I, we crash out pretty early because we've had a big day, you know, and the kids will start for another half an hour or so. And anyway, of course, they just don't turn the lights off. Kids, turn the lights off, and no one turns the lights off. Anyway, so I'm thinking, in the toilets, I actually put sensor lights in, so because I know they're not going to turn the lights off. They just walk in, go to the loo, and they just walk out, you know, but they never turn the lights off. And it's like, kids, turn the lights off, but they don't turn the lights off. So anyway, so I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through, and anyway, with the globes in the chandeliers, I went through and I unwound all the lights in the chandeliers, so only one of them worked. So when the kids leave the lights on, I'm only getting smashed for one light that's been left on, not 6. What a tight ass. Nothing worse. You get up in the middle of the night, it's like, man, I've got to wear sunglasses that bright, I've got all the lights left on, you know. So anyway, I fixed them. I undone all the globes. So that's my power saving tip for the day. So undo the globes and you don't use too much electricity. You've got to be happy with that. Number 9, do I need a septic tank next to my tiny home in the paddock? The answer to that is no. You don't need to hook up to a sewer or a septic tank or whatever. Our homes come semi-off-grid. Now, when I say semi-off-grid, what that means is that all of our homes come standard with a compost toilet. They come standard with a rainwater pump. They come standard with gutters. Okay, so the only thing you need to top it up to go fully off-grid is install our solar package on your tiny home. Okay, so in regards to a septic tank next to your tiny home, no, because we pre-set up all the plumbing, all the drainage. So your sink water, your washing machine water, your shower water, and your toilet water are all interconnected with one outlet. If you're only in a temporary spot, you just hook up a caravan hose and you move the caravan hose around for your grey water, or you can put in a seepage pit, which is as simple as a bit of 100mm ag line with a sock around it. Just put a trench in the ground, 20 metres long, $70 from Bunnings. Stick it in the ground, cover it in blue metal, throw a bit of throw the grass back over the top, and that becomes your seepage pit for your grey water. And then of course you've got your compost toilet. The standard one we provide is a CM2 by Clivius Multrum, which is you've got the internal bucket inside the home, which you probably only need to empty every couple of weeks. The solids stay in the bucket, the fluids go through the bucket and into the grey water system, and then every couple of weeks just grab the handle on the bucket and tip it into your compost heap. Or you can step it up to the next notch where you've got the chambers underneath your tiny home. So it's a lot like the old school long drops. So when you go to the loo, it goes through the bottom of the tiny home, and you've got your catchment chamber underneath your home, which once again you only need to empty on those big chambers, depending on the number of family, probably every 4 to 5 months. So it's a lot less hassle with that one there. And we've just installed one with a micro flush. So you've actually got a flush. So rather than sort of when you lift your lid, you can sort of look down the long drop. Well, with the micro flush one, you can't. There's actually like a pivot ball turnout, and as you press your foot on the lever when you finish going to the loo, the ball rotates, micro flushes the stuff down, and away she goes. So. And then of course you've got your Cinderella toilets, which basically nuke your poo. But it's all about cost and price, and depending how far you want to go. So there's all different levels. Once we get our aftermarket village set up properly, once we get the railway sorted, we'll get our new slab in, we'll get all the stuff set up. We'll actually have all the systems set up for you, so you can actually pick and choose on what system you want to put in your tiny home. Okay, number 10. I am a builder. Do you sell flat packs and or shell models? Yes. Well, the answer to that is yes. It's quite funny though. We've obviously got our flat pack and shell model prices, and we've had the builders come in, but at the end of the day, what they've realised is because of our purchasing power and our overall price point, which is very competitive for what we actually supply and deliver for our clients, it's not worth them getting their hands dirty. So they just say, you know what, you just build it, make it happen. We'll give you all the warranties that you need to cover that tiny home. It's a done deal, it's finished, and it's just ready to start living. So, but in saying that, we do flat packs and shell models if you want to. Number 11, what's that home model I saw, the new model you saw on our webpage? And that'll be our new model, and hey, we've got a name for it now. It's called the Charlo. I found another grandchild. I said last week we named all of our tiny homes after our grandchildren. I had to have another one before we could name this one. But anyway, long story short, I forgot about one of my grandkids. So that'll be called the Charlo. Okay, so this is it'll come standard as a 8.2 metre home. Okay, so it's got to be standard. It's 8.2. You can't do it any shorter than that. It's an 8.2 metre home, kitchen, dining, lounge, one end. As you come in, you've got a hallway. You'll walk past the bathroom on one side, and then all the way through to your master bedroom, which will be a queen-size bedroom with an island bed in it for your queen-size bed. Obviously, you can go for full-size wardrobes if you wanted to. So it's got a bedroom downstairs. And then, of course, you've got the two lofts upstairs on that as well, which is, 3-bedroom home. It's a winner. We've just finalising the plans for that now. We'll be uploading that shortly. But I think next week we're going to do a walkthrough of that. And it's a great looking model. I did mention as well, this is based, a lot of this thought patterns, this is from Joe, one of our clients. So I can't take the credit for it. However, we've honed it and made it work. Since then, I think we've sold 4 of those models because it's under construction in the factory. People are walking through, that's what I want. So it's really popular right now. So that'll be our Charlo model. So if you're keen on a tiny home, you want to have the bedroom downstairs, I reckon this is the way to go. So it's just to that next level, loving it. Number 12, have you got any positions vacant? We actually put some feelers out. I did touch upon earlier in the segment that we're looking at introducing another assembly line in our factory. Of course, that means we need a whole new crew. We've already got factory manager that's come on board with that crew. We've just picked up one apprentice, looking for probably one more apprentice. We're right with tradesmen. We just started another tradesman a couple of weeks ago. So we're good with the tradesmen. Need another apprentice carpenter joiner, and also a painter apprenticeship. So we have that available as well, painting apprenticeship. So if you know everyone, any young fellows that are after a painting apprenticeship, come and see us as well. We'll lock you in there with, you can come on board as part of the team. And also, while we're talking, on our farm, we've got a position available for a horticultural apprenticeship, okay? Which, yeah, if you really have got the goods, you're really a go-getting kid. I prefer sort of like a farm boy, because probably they know how to work. I don't want any tie kickers and kids that don't know how to work. I just need fellas that want to work. They come in because we've got plenty going on, and we can't afford to carry anyone, but kids that want to work, come on board, give us a call. We've got plenty happening. Horticulturalists, okay. That person or that position has an opportunity to grow right up to our farm manager. So if you're a go-getting kid, you're a bit of an entrepreneur, come on board. I tell you, come and take the reins, because I just don't have time. I'm just flat out right now, and I don't have time to be doing as much farm work as I'd like to, because it's so busy, you know. So, hey, listen, that's just about me for today. We got it's pizza night, homemade pizza night tonight, so I'm looking forward to that. So about to go and get in amongst it. But while I was sitting here, it's quite funny. It reminds me when I was a kid. I was just seeing all the kids jumping on the bikes, and it's like they've been all day. Right at the end of the day, I mean, still plenty of sunlight, but they decided to get all the bikes out, and away they go. Anyway, all the Hells Angel crew, they start getting all the bikes out, and of course I don't have as much time as I used to do as much maintenance as I need to. Anyway, it's quite funny. One of the bikes will come out, he's got a flat tyre, so it'll be left over there. Next one to come out, he's got no fuel, so it'll be left over there. And then there's about half a dozen of them out to go. And anyway, at the end of the night, end of the day, I've got to go out and pick up all the pieces. There'll be motorbikes left out, helmets left lying around, and I've got to go and pick it all up and then put it all away again until next week. And anyway, oh yeah, that's what I was talking about. Out in the bush, on my dad's farm, okay. It's so funny, I used to bring some city slickers out to the place, you know, and come and stay on the farm. And Dad had this tennis court, homemade tennis court, and we'd sort of hit him up. Hey, Dad, we want to go and play tennis. Anyway, old Chief, he'd get out there and he'd mark all the courts out, and he'd get it all marked up and put the net up and tension the net and get all the balls and stuff out. And anyway, we'd go out and hit a tennis, and of course it'd be too hot, and throw a bug of that, so we'd all go back inside in the air conditioning. And old Chiefy spent 3 hours getting the tennis court ready that we only played on for about half an hour, you know. So it sort of reminds me of that. I think it's a bit of payback. So now it's like that now with the kids and the motorbikes. They get them all out and they go for a scout around and leave them bikes everywhere. And anyway, they're going to go and pick up all the pieces and pick up all the bikes and put them all away, and we'll do it all over again next week, you know. So, yeah, funny as. And then, of course, then the other thing, the kids, they go riding the bike. It's like, where's my stuff? Where's my shoes, Dad? Dad, where's my shoes? Oh, I don't know. Where'd you leave them? Oh, yeah, you know what the kids do? They come home, they just hoik them. Get their boots on and just hoik it. Hoik it here, hoik it there. All you need to do, kids, I'll tell you what I do. I want to get a bit of string. It's about 10 metres long. I'm going to tie it to the front door and just walk around with that string. I'm going to put a big arc around. And I reckon your shoes are going to be within that 10 metre stretch of string, you know. They'll be there somewhere, whatever hoiking distance is. I know we've got a new dog. He grabs the shoes a bit. So let's extend the string to 20 metres. But I reckon anywhere within that 20 metre zone, that'll be where your boots are. You know, like pick them up, kids. Stick them in the, I don't know, shoe drawer or something. So then you don't have to ask me. It's your shoes, find them. Anyway, long story short, I'm done for today. Have a great week. If you've got any more questions, make sure you give us a buzz during the week. If you want to lock in for your tiny homes next year, like I said, we've picked up the pace now. We're well and truly, we're delivering tiny homes less than 6 months next year for each of our tiny homes with the new assembly line. So that's going to be pretty exciting. It's going to be fairly hectic. Lots of deliveries going on. Hence, we're going to be picking up a poor man's Dodge Ram, hopefully towards the end of the year. That'll be a four-wheel drive Isuzu truck. Mate, it's going to be great. So that'll be for our interstate deliveries and that. So anyway, listen, have a great week. I've rattled on enough. If you've got any questions, give us a call during the week. And But yeah, Uru, see you later.